gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's 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 gonna be a good day.
Good morning, good morning. Welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. Today, I've got a little bit of a headline on Bitcoin versus gold and Bitcoin versus quantum computing. So, I'd like to touch on both of those things. I've got the Bitcoin versus gold chart pulled up, and I've also got a little bit of a light dive into the quantum computing aspects of Google's new chip that they just dropped, which I touched on last week after Google got a massive 5% move to the upside. But now that it's been out for a little bit and we have some information about it, we kind of know that it's not a threat to Bitcoin right now, and that threat has been pushed a little bit later down the road. And Ethereum is already moving to take the proper steps to avoid quantum computing messing with their blockchain. So let's dive on in today and get you prepped for some success. I do have the stock heat map pulled up. Apple from yesterday made some decent gains, up 1.17%, and the pre-market is sitting down just a little bit, down 0.27%. We do have Nvidia sitting up down 1.68%, and the pre-market continuing on those losses, down 1.42%. We've got Berkshire Hathaway sitting down just a little bit, down 0.59%, and the pre-market is also down 0.14%. Amazon is doing pretty nicely. We've got it up at 2.4%, and in the pre-market, taking back just a little bit of those gains, down 0.22%. We've got Eli Lilly taking back some of the gains that it had made from last week, down 1.28%, and in the pre-market, continuing on that trend, down 0.44%. We do have ExxonMobil, which is sitting down pretty nicely, down 2.14%. In the pre-market, looking pretty neutral, down 0.09% right now. We've got Tesla sitting up nicely from yesterday. It is up 6.14%. And in the pre-market, continuing on some massive gains, up 3.05%. Microsoft is sitting up just a little bit from yesterday, up 0.97. In the pre-market, taking back a third of those gains, down 0.39% right now. We do have Google, which is continuing on its trend after it dropped the news of its new quantum computing chip. It has been doing pretty decently. It is up 3.54% from yesterday, and in the pre-market is up just a smidge, up 0.09%. Meta as well is sitting in the green, up 0.63, and in the pre-market is up just a little bit, up 0.06. Crypto, on the other hand, is looking decently green. We do have Bitcoin up 0.73. We've got Ethereum sitting a little neutral, up 0.26. We've got XRP making massive gains, up 8.61%, back to that $2 and about 70-cent range. We do have Solana sitting up 2.84%. BNB is sitting neutral as well, down just 0.07%. We've got Dogecoin sitting up 0.62%. Cardano is sitting up just a little bit, up 2.27%, back at that $1.10 range. We've got Toncoin sitting up 1.19. We've got Shiba Inu sitting neutral, up 0.35%. Chainlink is sitting down just a little bit. I saw that it had a decent little move the other day and is sitting down 1.27% right now. Got Avalanche sitting up at 2.61% right now, and Troncoin is sitting down 0.97. Let's hop over to the economic calendar real quick because we do have some data that is coming out for the day. We've got core inflation rate month over month and core inflation rate year over year for Canada. Not a big market mover, but they are ahead of us in our rate cutting cycle. So I have been paying attention to Canada, the UK, and the European Union. The European Union just decided that it was going to be pausing its rates. We are also looking at the UK making a rate decision at the same time as us and Japan. So something to keep in mind. They are predicted to be pausing as well as the European Union did. For the US, though, we do have retail sales month over month coming out, and that will be at 8:30 Eastern Time. A little bit later in the day, we do have some more data coming out from the United States. That will be business inventories month over month and the housing market index. This will be another big mover coming out at 10 o'clock Eastern Time. A little bit later in the day at 6:50 or 18:50, so 6:50 Eastern Time, we will have balance of trade from Japan, and that will be another big one for the day. This is coming out right before their rate decision, massively predicted to be a pause at their 0.25% rate, but here soon they're going to have to change their narrative, because if they get to a cutting cycle, what they don't want to see, which we saw last time, was negative rates in Japan. And this is part of the reason that they're in such a sticky situation right now. So let's hop over to that fear and greed and the liquidation heat map real quick before we dive into Bitcoin. Got the stock market ticking back up. From yesterday was up just a little bit. Right now, 0 point change and sitting at 56 and light green. For the crypto side of things, we're in that extreme greed, up 4 points from yesterday. So definitely a move that we could have predicted on that fear and greed after that move up to 107,000. We do have some hot spots of liquidity sitting on either side of us. For the top side, that's going to be that $107,000 range. For the bottom side of us, we do have some stacking up around 102,000 and then down here as well at 97,000. That's that 2-day chart for you. Let's zoom it on into the daily to kind of see where the liquidity lies for the day as well. And again, both going to be on either side of us. We do have some stacking up at about 105, pretty much exactly at 105, and going all the way up to 105,500. For the top side, that hot spot is going to be that 107,900 range. If you zoom it on out to that weekly, that's where you're gonna. Oh, I guess I can't look at that weekly because I need to make an account on this. I don't know what's going on. I've never had that problem with CoinGlass before. But let's hop into the chat before we hop over to that Bitcoin chart real quick. Got Jesse Gulak in here saying, good morning, good morning. Today's going to be a good day. It most definitely is. Username saying, good morning, BC, or should I say Mr. Near Hater? You can call me either one. I'm fine with either. We've got RCN246 in here. Good morning, good morning. Username saying, I took a Gary Gensler this morning and I'm ready to go. Username, I'm not worried about quantum for a few more years, but my quantum stocks loving all this. Sold my QUBT, which I bought July 2nd. Remind me a little bit later and we can take a look at that stock. We've got Darren Does Things in here saying, good morning all. Still busy updating taxes for filing at 0. What a bill ache. And Alexandra G in here. Good morning, Alexandra G. Good morning to the Mod Queen. I hope you're having a great day. All right, here's that Bitcoin chart for you. Let's zoom it on out to a higher time frame. I've been looking at it on the 1 hour for a lot of my charting. We did break out of the Fibonacci extension that I've been looking at for quite a while, and that daily liquidity is finally ticking back to the green side of things. Your MACD does look like it's about to be hitting that upward movement again. It is a little bit of a laggard as we've already got that move to the upside. It pulled that MACD line above your indicator line in the positive side of things. As you can see here, we just got that cross yesterday, and definitely looking for a little more moves to the upside. There will probably be some pullbacks along the way, but we'll just have to look at that as we zoom on in. As you can kind of see here, your prime oscillator is hitting that darker green and is at that point where we could start seeing some topping signals on a daily. So that will indicate as well that with the momentum, we could definitely see some small pullbacks along the way. Let's zoom it on in just a little bit to that 4-hour chart and kind of zoom it in just a little more. There we go. As you can see, we had got a nice bounce off of that golden pocket from this old Fibonacci extension. And when we broke out of the range, I ended up pulling up a new Fibonacci extension to kind of see where we might see some bouncing points before we get to my ultimate target with our predicted rate cut of 113 by the end of the year. Let me pull up that vertical line again. As you can see there, that's our rate cut decision. It's massively predicted to be that 25 basis point cut and will really be a big catalyst. So we've got a bit of a broadening wedge here. We do have 2 touches on the bottom side. We've got 3 touches on the top side. So I'm waiting for a little bit of a move to the bottom side to kind of confirm that that is a support line to the bottom. We do have time to move sideways and bring that line closer to us before we really get that rate cut decision and see us explode to the upside. We are sitting right above the 236 right now on that. We've got heavy green liquidity for our 4-hour, but we are starting to see a bit of some topping signals. We do have a fair value gap that's sitting right here in between these candles. So that midline is kind of in line with that 0 line. I don't have that drawn out right this second because it'd make the chart really confusing, and I'm not trying to confuse people. I'm trying to just have it look nice and simple for you. But as we move a little bit further away, I will end up drawing that because we might not end up getting to that fair value gap. We also do have a CME gap that is sitting below us. Haven't drawn that one out. I don't know if we close it right now. We're definitely going to need to see what the holiday sell-off brings. If you zoom it on in to that 1-hour chart, you can kind of see here the liquidity just went light red. So that little pullback that we're seeing right now is definitely something that could have been predicted when you see these big, massive moves to the upside and a bounce off of the top side of this range. We did get up to that 50% line on a Fibonacci extension before we started to see a little bit of some weakness. So waiting for that bouncing point, you've got that MACD line that is sitting in the top side of things, but we just crossed to the bottom side of the indicator line. You got some slight curvature going sideways though, so just some liquidity coming in could really change where the direction of that MACD line is heading. You do have some divergences that stacked up on that entire move to the upside. So seeing that pullback play out and maintaining strength here on our 236, where we've gotten a bunch of touches before we tried to move back up to that 50% line, would definitely be something nice to see. But with the liquidity going red, I would look down here at about 106 236 to kind of see some bouncing. We do have very, very equal highs there. We might go a little bit below that to take out the highs and kind of continue to move to the upside. The trend is very bullish, so keep that in mind. I would not really be looking for the shorts. As we zoom on in here for the 15-minute, you can kind of see here that our 15-minute just went red as well. So looking for that liquidity to kind of come back in. It is a light red though, so could very easily switch back over to green. You do have your prime oscillator, which is sitting there at the bottom waiting for reversal signals to show. You've got your MACD as well, which is set to hit a little bit of a cross to the bottom side of things before potentially pulling back up. Seeing that 236 bounce would be nice, but I do think that there might be a little bit of some lower prices before we really hit that bounce and continuation. You do have the 382, which is sitting right above us that we're unable to hold here. That's going to be that 107 100 range. So seeing that be some slight resistance before we move back down to make a higher low in this range would definitely be a move I would like to see for the morning if we're going to see that liquidity being the outflow. Just need to make continuous higher lows and stay with that trend. This is more of the micro trend there. As you can see here, all of this is higher lows. And we've definitely got some room to the downside if you zoom it on out and look at that. That 4 hour here, plenty of room to make a bit of a higher low here on that 4 hour. That low was sitting back there at about 103 300. So plenty of room to the downside to make a higher low on the macro side of things. Let's hop back over to the chat because I saw some new people coming in. We've got Dan A saying good morning. Jesse Gulek saying, did we all hit the like button? No, it looks like this. I appreciate that, Jesse. We've got Jesse saying good morning to Darren Does Things. It's Fed Day, isn't it? That will be on the 18th. So we've got that decision coming out tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. That will be tomorrow for all of that big data, as well as some other data as well. I know Piper touched on that on his show yesterday. We will touch on that more tomorrow morning. The trend is your friend until the end. Frankie's call. Yes, sir. I love that. I love that saying as well. The trend is your friend. That is why normally when we are in that more macro uptrend, I don't like to look for shorts unless I'm really seeing that point where I can hit that quick short, and that's more on the scalping time frames, and I can just be in and out with some higher leverage and just cut that short quick and take my profits, and then wait for the bouncing point that we're really going to look for and just play with the trend. It is very easy if you are shorting against a bullish trend or trying to be longing a bearish trend to get caught in that very quickly. Stop losses don't always like to fill, so I don't like to play those. I will when I am doing those shortings in a bullish trend on a scalping time frame, I do not like to use a stop loss. I like to be glued to the chart, and I will manually do that because I've had too many stop losses that just don't fill. So I will manually exit that trade. Does it cost a little bit more sometimes? Yes, but I'm willing to take that instead of that stop loss that I had not filling. So just gotta play the trends the way that you're seeing them and go with that trend to really make your best gains with some safety, because those stop losses aren't always accurate and don't always fill. Let's hop over to that headline that I'd had about gold and Bitcoin. I'll zoom it in just a little bit so that y'all can see it a bit more. We've got gold or Bitcoin. Here's the case for adding both to your portfolio in 2025. Clearly, gold and Bitcoin aren't the same, says analyst. Cryptocurrencies and gold have been rounding out an impressive year, with Bitcoin and precious metals both lifted to record highs. That's one of the many things digital and physical assets suddenly had in common in 2024. But it's the difference that can actually help investors balance their portfolios in the year ahead. On the surface, Bitcoin can be a rival to gold because they are both alternative assets that can help reduce risk in a traditional portfolio, said Edmund Moy, senior IRA strategist for precious metal distributors U.S. Money Reserve. Kind of funny that the person that's talking about adding gold to your portfolio with some Bitcoin sells gold. So I just want that to be put out there. As crypto bulls have long touted Bitcoin to be digital gold, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell also recently said Bitcoin is just like gold. But their differences are greater than their similarities, Moy said. Gold and Bitcoin don't correlate well with each other. That may be the strongest case for investors to own both, given uncertainties in the year ahead. Still, investors look to diversify their portfolios should remember that diversification alone doesn't eliminate risk entirely. Particularly given Bitcoin's volatility, Moy said. In addition to adding potential diversification to traditional portfolios, both assets could hedge against the dollar's depreciation, according to Mark Hackett, Chief of Investment Research at Nationwide. Investors' concern over equity valuations, geopolitical uncertainty, fiscal debt, and rate pressure could benefit from a position in gold, Hackett told MarketWatch. Yet with gold nearing record highs, exposure in the asset should be modest, he said. Bitcoin, on the other hand, has posted impressive returns, but has moved largely in tandem with equity markets, especially with technology stocks, Hackett added. Investors with a higher risk tolerance and a longer time horizon could benefit from exposure. I'm not really going to hop into the portfolio allocation because, no one can really tell you what your risk tolerance is. There is safety in gold. There's some risk in Bitcoin. I'm not going to deny that at all. It is a risk on asset. But let's clean this up real quick so that we can kind of get a better view when I do this measured move here. Let's hide all of that too, and hide that last Fibonacci extension. All right there. So if we go and zoom on back to about 2020, where we hit our last bull run, right before we've got our bottoming point, where we kind of see an equal bottoming point here with Bitcoin. So I'll measure from that point, and this is going from about August of 2018, right before halving cycle. And if you go up to current prices, you're seeing gold up 126%. If you go from that same kind of timeline from here, where we see our lows here, which is November of 2018, and you go to current price on Bitcoin, you've got Bitcoin up 3,200%. So I mean, it's a bit of a hedge against inflation and your dollar, but one of them clearly does massively better. And with current adoption and more people taking a look at Bitcoin, Bitcoin seems like it's going to be the better hedge. There is some safety in gold. I'm not going to deny it, but if you're just looking for gains, which is what a lot of people are looking for, the allocation, if your risk tolerance is high, definitely shows that Bitcoin is the better hedge. Just that digital gold that outperforms gold ridiculously. So let's hop over to that other headline real quick, cause it was a biggie. I know username has brought it up quite a bit, and I was just waiting for some more information to come out on it, because Google did drop their quantum computing chip last week and got massive gains off of their stock from it. So I was waiting to see the breakdown on it, and we finally got that decent breakdown on their new chip. We've got Google Willow quantum computing chip versus Bitcoin security. What's at stake? Google's Willow chip marks a new era in quantum performance, enabling a complex computations with significant implications for various industries, including cryptography. Quantum computing has reached a critical milestone with Google unveiling its 105 qubit Willow chip, building on the company's groundbreaking Sycamore processor from 2019. Willow represents a significant leap in quantum performance and scalability, promising advancements across industries ranging from medicine to cryptography. Overview on Willow's specifications: 105 qubits. Willow nearly doubles the qubit count of Sycamore, unlocking the ability to tackle exponentially more complex computations. Each qubit in Willow is designed to operate with improved coherence times, minimizing quantum noise and enhancing computational stability. Error correction breakthroughs. One of Willow's most notable advancements is its process in quantum error correction, a critical step towards scalability, fault tolerant quantum systems. Google's researchers report Willow's achieves logical qubit lifetimes longer than physical qubits, showing its potential for sustained performance. Speed and power in benchmarks like random circuit sampling, a test where quantum computers prove its power by solving complex problems. Willow completed tasks in minutes that would take classical supercomputers billions of years. Such breakthroughs highlights the chip's ability to outperform classical systems in specific problem domains. And this is going to be a big thing with quantum computers. It's very problem specific at where they excel. Um, Introducing Willow, our new state of the art quantum computing chip with a breakthrough that can reduce errors exponentially as we scale up, using more qubits, cracking a 30-year challenge in the field. In benchmarks test, Willow solved a standard computation in less than 5 minutes that would take a leading supercomputer 10 to the 25 years, far beyond the age of the universe. So this is a massive step in the direction of quantum computing. The error reducing is a big part of what quantum computing has been struggling with. They they have a few different methods for quantum computing where they use light, they use atoms, and both of those are very error prone. And this has been a big problem. And this is where the computations that they're trying to accomplish, especially when you're talking about cryptography, are going to battle. Uh, errors, just one slight error in a machine that is prone to errors, that needs to be kept at 0 Kelvin, so massively below zero, um, is going is are they're very unstable in certain ways. You've got Google's first quantum computer that they had built was being affected by cars driving on the road by their building. So we've still got some time here where Bitcoin is safe. These computations are still taking a bit of some time. I would have to zoom in a little bit more, uh, uh, scroll down a little bit more to kind of get to the point where it talked about it. Here we go. Importance of public and private keys in Bitcoin security. Uh, yep, it's in this section. Bitcoin security is built on an elliptic curve cryptography, ECC, specifically the elliptic curve digital signature algorithms, raising concerns in the context of quantum chip versus Bitcoin security. The relations between public and private keys is crucial. Public keys shared openly as the address for receiving Bitcoin. Private key kept secret and used to sign transactions, prove ownership, and authorize movement of funds. The security premise behind ECDSA lies in the elliptic curve discrete logical problem, which is computationally infeasible for classical computers to solve. Without access to users' private key, forging a valid signature or accessing funds becomes virtually impossible. How quantum algorithms threaten cryptography. Quantum computers, however, could potentially undermine the security framework. Two key quantum algorithm highlights the risk. Shor's algorithm can break cryptographic systems like ECC by quickly solving problems like integer factorization, allowing private keys to be derived from public keys. Grover's algorithm provides a quadratic speedup through brute force hash functions. In Bitcoin's case, this would reduce the effective strength of SHA-256 used in its proof of work consensus from 256 bits to 128 bits. While this remains secure by today's standards, it underscores the potential vulnerabilities in other systems with weaker hash functions. And a lot of the 256-bit to 128-bit does decrease some of the time frames of it, but you're still talking about at current quantum computing levels where they are able to perform multiple of these algorithms at once, being unable to do it in a feasible time frame where you would still be behind on trying to break into the blockchain, because the block that you're trying to hit is going to be several blocks behind you with a 10-minute block time. So still got some time on that, but this is indicating that there is the potential with quantum computing that there are some risks to blockchains, especially with any proof of work that has less than that 256. And even those are going to be at risk once we are able to increase the amount of computations that can run at once. And this is something that gets touched on a little bit later in the article. Let's see. It was down here. Where was it? There we go. Does Willow pose a threat to Bitcoin? Despite Google's Willow quantum chip making a significant milestone in quantum computing with 105 qubits, it currently poses no immediate threat to Bitcoin. And if you see here, we've got the 105 qubit breaking the Bitcoin's ECDSA or SHA-256 would require at least 150,000 to 3,000 fault-tolerant logistical qubits, far exceeding Willow's capabilities. As previously mentioned, current quantum systems are not yet scalable enough to challenge Bitcoin's robust defenses. Bitcoin's layered cryptographic structure, combining ECDSA and SHA-256, ensure resilience against today's quantum technologies. You could consider Willow in the INSQ phase, where errors and instability limit their practical applications. This technology gap between Bitcoin's cryptographic safeguards secure for now. And that's what I was talking about earlier, where you do have quantum computing, which is which has to be kept in a very, very controlled environment, and slight problems cause massive problems in their ability to perform these tasks. A little bit later in here, you do have Vitalik Buterin proposals for Ethereum security. Vitalik Buterin, Ethereum co-founder, has been vocal about preparing for quantum risks. Key proposals include Lamport signatures, quantum resistant one-time signature schemes that are easy to implement but require larger storage. Transition flexibility. Ethereum's modular structure allows it to adopt new cryptographic standards more quickly than Bitcoin. For example, Ethereum could integrate post-quantum algorithms via updates to its consensus mechanism. Buterin's proactive approach provides a blueprint for other blockchains. And that's just a small line of what we'll probably be seeing going forward along other blockchains as well. Because yes, is the threat years off? Yeah, most definitely. But if you're wanting to be proactive, which crypto is going to need to be proactive as we get to these points where quantum computers get a little more powerful, and they get to the point where eventually you might be able to have one in your home, which we're still talking years and years and years off at that point. We're going to need a more secure blockchain. And this is where you will have to integrate new security measures, and at the same time, again, having that blockchain be a lot faster. Because if these blockchains are moving faster, then these quantum computers, which are also moving massively faster, won't be able to attack your blockchain. If you're having block times where you have LTC, which is completing block times in 2 minutes, if they're able to compete with that quantum computing and drop that down to, say, a block time every 2 seconds, your quantum computer is not going to be able to attack that block, because the block is done so quick, and it still needs time to be able to complete these mathematical equations. So definitely a step forward for crypto as we are seeing technology advance. Let's see. Mark Dutch. I love BC, but this reading of news articles, not so. This is something that's been interesting to me. I do have a bit of a nerdy side, and I love to touch on these things. This was a super long article as well. As you can kind of see here, it keeps going. And I tried to touch on the highlights of what could potentially be heading towards Bitcoin. It will take Bitcoin longer to take care of some of these problems, as you do need a consensus vote, whereas in Ethereum is able to adopt some of these things more quickly, and is definitely looking to do so. Let's scroll up a little bit in chat. I did see some bigger chats that I'd like to take. Car vibrations also cause problems in semiconductors. HSC makes the purest of pure, and it it affected it. Worked in there a lot of years. Yes, and that's another thing that's going to be causing problems in this industry, and they're going to have to get past that point. And this is why I feel confident that that quantum computing is not a immediate threat to Bitcoin. They are still a ways off. They are still unable to do a lot of these processes without having massive errors in their in their programs because of how sensitive these machines are. We did have Jesse Gulek saying it went way too late last night. Mark, I've seen it become 3:30 a.m. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, but threats could come with nations trying to steal your BTC. A normie will not have one. That was username. We've got Mark Dutch saying, tonight you'll probably be late again. Billy Goat Tails on X. Oh, yep, and it is Tuesday, so we do have Billy Goat Tails coming in on X today. That is right after Crypto Nightcap tonight. So tune into that one. If you didn't drop a link to their Twitter, Mark Dutch, can you go ahead and do that in the chat for me? Let's see. BC, don't listen to Mark. Appreciate the random news you go through. Thank you, maybe a Band-Aid. I know it could be a bit nerdy at times, but I'm a bit of a nerdy guy. And I feel like this is more of a scary article to some people, but I look at it as the potential for what it can do to the blockchain going forward. It is a massive leap forward if they take these steps to battle quantum computing before we ever get to quantum computers being a threat to the blockchain. And just imagine how quickly we could take over Visa and the amount of transactions handled in a minute, because they're handling massive amounts of transactions in a minute, and there's no blockchain out there that even comes close to handling what Visa does. And at the same time that Visa's handling these transactions, they're not completing both the pay from person to person. It is not closed within the time of the transaction. Whereas in blockchains will handle that transaction at that time. You get your money, transaction done, block sealed. There is no threat to it anymore. And this is what I'm looking for on blockchains. If you want massive adoption in your real world assets, they need to be able to handle all of these transactions that Visa currently does, but do it better. And that's the problem that we need to solve. And by having quantum computing being a threat to the blockchain, that's going to force these blockchains to adapt massively. And they're going to need to be quicker, and they're going to need to be able to handle transactions front end, back end, and do it where it's not able to be attacked. Blockchains with your standard computers are extremely safe, much safer than any Visa transaction will ever be. And it's kind of sad to see that they've taken so long to be adopted, because I've been here since 2011 touting Bitcoin, and now we're finally getting to that point where blockchains are now take that spotlight. And these are the scary headlines that we're going to be seeing, especially since quantum computing, we're going to take over the blockchain. And this is something that's been talked about for years. And it has been a worry for some people for years. And you do have, that's why I like what Vitalik Buterin's trying to do. He's trying to put in a quantum resistant signature, which means at the time there'll be a new signature tied to your wallet, which will prevent anything from being able to be, because you can't make that new signature. If it's a new signature every single time, that quantum computer is going to be unable to make that signature off of the wallet that it has in the time frame that it needs to attack the blockchain, which is also going to speed up the blockchain. So I oh, Mark just says, I love how BC is talking nerdy right now. It's the reading that kills the vibe. I I will I'll try to limit some of the reading. That's why I like to speed through articles sometimes and then get to the end of it so that I can do my little breakdown. Uh it is hard sometimes. I don't like the whole reading thing, but like these articles are important to the blockchain. They're important to blockchain technology, and they're important to crypto in a whole. And these are the scary headlines we're going to keep seeing. We're going to see crypto keep getting fudded, and a lot of people aren't going to dive into it, and they're just going to read that first headline and like, what's at stake? Oh no, is crypto unsecure as we have quantum computing? And no, it's not. We are years and years off from it, especially since these computers need to be kept at 0 Kelvin. And that's a massive ask for anyone. They're like old school 80s computers that took up entire rooms. That's what quantum computers are right now, and we're nowhere close to them being a threat to the blockchain. It's your bigger threat, as I think username touched on, is your government's trying to take your Bitcoin. So let's see if anyone has any alt requests today. Drop those in the chat for me. It's just like when BC hulks out on the nerdy. Yeah. I do get on a tangent and I just go with it, and it's extremely nerdy. I'll own it. I'll own it. I like the nerdy talk. I like computers. So that's why I've been big on blockchain for so long. I did have the S&P 500 pulled up this morning. I was taking a look at it. It is looking like it's forming a bit of a triangle here. We've got potential if we break down to the bottom side here around our golden pocket to really hit that third bounce on the bottom side, move back up to the top side of this triangle for a breakout to the top side, and a move back up above this platinum pocket here that we have not been able to hold for quite a while. You do have the CME gap, which has come into play quite a bit. As you can see, we get candle opens and candle closes right on top of it. We do wick above it and below it very quickly before we move into the range. This golden pocket hasn't really been turned into some support, so that's why I'm looking for that golden pocket to really be turned into strong support here before we move on out of the range. You do have some top end signals here as your MACD is getting heavy curvature, looking across that zero line. You do have your prime oscillator, which is green, but at that point where it's getting nice curvature and your money flows ticking up on the sell-off side of things. So looking for some pullback on that S&P 500. That golden pocket's going to be that $6,044 before we can really move on up. That you can kind of see here if with the time horizon, this is the hourly, as you've seen our moves down to the side and moves back up being extremely quick. It kind of signals that we might see that golden pocket bounce come very in line with our support line here, and allows us to move back up to the top side of this triangle for another approach here, where if you do get more touches on the top side, you are more likely to break to the top side. If you get more touches on the bottom side, you do often see that you are more likely to break to the bottom side. Let's see. I do have a request for Sol. I will hop into that right after that. Current price areas you're looking for to get some injective. I will touch on that one too, because I did have injective pulled up as well. Let me pull up the Russell real quick before I hop into that soul request. As you can kind of see here, we've got a resistance line that is pulled back here from, let's see, back in July, which is a decent little resistance line that we've been coming up to. It is a off of the candle bodies from this hourly chart, and we have managed to bounce off of it, close both this fair value gap, our CME gap, and are looking to potentially touch on the CME gap down here, the top side of which is $2,300. Your MACD's getting heavy curvature here. Your money flow just ticked green on the hourly, but you're seeing some topping signs on your RSI. So definitely looking for a little more bottom side. This is the risk on side of TradFi, and sometimes moves in tangent with Bitcoin as well. So just seeing some bounces here on our bottom side, where we've got the CME gap here at 2,300. There is a slight CME gap down here as well, which we got a bounce off the top side of, which was 2,338. And on the bottom side, we do have 2,324. Just a small CME gap there, which could come into play as well. I didn't draw it out because it's very small and has less strength than this big one back here. But it's something to keep in mind that if we don't make it all the way down here, we might end up bouncing here at that 2,324 for the Russell 2000. Let's hop back over to crypto. I had Sol asked for, so let's pull Sol up. We got Sol, and as you can kind of see here, let's zoom it on out to that 4-hour view and see what we're looking at for money flow. I had talked last week about the bounce off of the trend line and pulling back down to this platinum pocket here at 216. It looks like that 216 might be that local bottoming point. As you can kind of see here, our money flow is ticking to the green with some inflows very nicely in a healthy move. On our 4-hour, we've got your MACD, which is looking to cross that zero line again. So really looking for that liquidity to continue to move to the upside and this divergence to end up playing on out. We do have some top side targets here, where if we break to the top side of about 234 and are able to maintain support, we could end up moving up here where we've got lots of equal highs here at 245. We will need to maintain our momentum here at that 235 to 231 range, which we're quickly approaching, and turn that area into some support before we're going to attack that 240 range. Other than that, I think Sol might see this little reversal of trend here. As you can kind of see here, we do have lower lows, lower lows, lower lows, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, and this is looking like the first time we are making a higher low. We will just have to kind of see how well this plays out, and if this is that reversal of trend there, and this is the move towards the break up and break out. We do see your 1-hour is getting some slight topping signals. I do like to see multiple of those. As you can kind of see here, you do have 3 of them in a row where we have reversal signal here on the bottoming, reversal signal on the break below that platinum pocket, and then reversal signal again before it actually played out. And it played out in red liquidity on that hour chart. You do have that liquidity, which is just switched to the green side of things as we're seeing that reversal signal. So seeing multiple of those reversal signals play out is definitely a plausible move as we see more money flowing into Solana. Let's zoom it on in to that 15-minute chart real quick and kind of see. We do have that liquidity sitting nice and green as the RSI, as your prime oscillator went red here and back to light red. The money flow has been picking up extremely nicely. Looking for a little bit of some pullbacks here on the shorter term time frame where we could definitely see us looking to attack that same range that I've been talking about, but we will need to kind of turn this area back into steady support. This is a fair value gap, so seeing us pull to that mid range of 223 before we continue a move to the upside is definitely plausible if we are going to see that money flow falter a little bit on that 15-minute chart. We did have injective requested as well. I've got about 4 more minutes, so I will take a look at injective before I wind the show down. I did see Lunar Beaches Crypto sliding in here. He says, hope you are all having an amazing day. I won't be seeing you until later. He said he's heading to some training at work. Good morning. Good morning, Lunar Beaches Crypto. I hope you have an amazing Tuesday. Got Dante Cabrero in here. Good morning, good morning. And let's see. Let's go, Lunar Beaches brother. I'm not sure how to say your name here, so I'm not even going to attempt it. Got Mark. We got to go to the Otter Gang Gang in 5 minutes. Yep, and that's about the time I'll be shutting my show down for the day. I I need to hop over to Alex O Crypto's show as well. I like those mornings with Alex O Crypto. As you can kind of see here, we've got injective. Let's zoom it on out to the daily. There we go here. We've got injective, which had made some nice support here on our golden pocket, but we were unable to maintain this 50% fib line on a retracement. We got a move above it, bounced off of that 382, and ended up hitting to the bottom side. Lunar Beaches Crypto, where were you yesterday? Me? Are you asking me or asking someone else? Because I had car problems yesterday and could not make it back home. I had to wait on Walmart to go get some coolant and some coolant leak stop before I could drive my car anywhere. I turned it on and like idling because it's like 20 degrees here in Nebraska and it's not great to run your car from a cold start, and it ended up overheating and 20 degrees, and I was like, okay, I guess we're not going nowhere. But I am looking for another golden pocket bounce here in the range, and that's going to be that $25, about $24.80 for injective, and looking for that continuation of trend. It would be some equal lows, but we do have equal lows here that need to be taken out. So looking for that bouncing point. As you can kind of see, your liquidity is kind of faltering here in this range. So seeing that bottom side target is definitely a move to look for. The 1 day as well is starting to slow up on your liquidity. That was the 2 day there. You do have your MACD, which is kind of getting a bit of curvature. So looking at some higher lows here, but with your liquidity slowing up on that 1 day as well as your 2 day. Zoom it on in just a little bit, show you the 4 hour. Your 4 hour is kind of peaking out on your green side liquidity. Looking for these topping signals to really play out. Your MACD looks like it could be about to falter on a 0 line cross, especially if we're going to see the slow up of liquidity as well. seeing another bouncing point off of that $30 and about 20 cents on objective before a move to the downside could definitely be what we're looking for there. If on the other side, if we do maintain a nice liquidity on the move to the upside, and turned this $30 and about 20 cents into some support, we definitely have some moves to the upside to break through, especially if Bitcoin is going to be explosive again. It is 7 o'clock here, and I know that we've got Alex L. Crypto that is going to be starting his show. So I thank you to everyone that tuned in today. I appreciate every single one of you. If you haven't hit that like and subscribe button to the Piper Academy, we've got 5 shows a day. Lunar Beaches Crypto does that Markets After Dark show, 11 p.m. Eastern Time. We do have Piper, who will be going live at Market Open, 9:30 Eastern Time. And he's got his OC as the co-host with that great Mexican spaghetti on the chart. We do have Trade Intuition, who goes live every day with Trade Academy at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. He is great at teaching how to do TA. So if you need some help with your TA, if you've got questions about things, that's the show to watch if you need some help with that. Also, tune into that Crypto Nightcap Monday through Thursday with TradeFly and FD White. And right after that, we've got Billy Goat Tales on X. Mark Dutch dropped that link in the chat today. So go ahead, check those out, and tune in to the rest of the shows today. And I'll see you in Alex O Crypto's chat here in a second. Thank you to everyone. Wake up, because today